growing up in the UK, I was always fascinated by Australia. But as a kid, I never thought it would be possible to take off from the UK, not stop anywhere along the way, and touch down at the end of the flight in Australia. It's something I thought would never be possible, and it's something I've never done in my life until today. So as a traveller and someone who likes aviation, this is such a big day for me. I'm very excited. Two quick things. First of all, Heathrow have reintroduced having to take liquids out of your baggage when you're going through security. So even though they've got the new scanners, normally could keep your liquids in your bags as well, can't do that now. They've reintroduced the fact that you have to take them out. So just be warned if you're going through Heathrow at the moment. Also, it's a very privileged life, but I am flying business today, which I'm very fortunate to be able to do. What I normally do is I get my coffee here in the Qantas lounge, and nothing against the food. Food here is good. But because I've got One World Emerald status, I can use the other One World lounges here. So you've got British Airways and Cathay as well. And like I say, the food here is good, but the food in the Cathay First Lounge is just, it's a lot nicer. So I get coffee here and go and eat next door. Bye-bye London. So here we go, start your clocks. This is the start of our 17-hour trip. I still can't believe I'm doing this. I know some of you watching this might have already been on this flight before, and I know this isn't the actual longest flight that you can do on a commercial airline in the world, but for me, just knowing that I'm about to fly, like lift off from the UK, and the next time our wheels touch the ground will be in Australia, I still think the technology behind what we're about to do is just, for me, it's still mind-blowing. As you can tell, I'm very excited. This is a flight I've been looking forward to for a long time. Oh, and there it is, there it is.
Just a walk on board this service from London down to Perth. We're just incurring a slight delay at the moment with air traffic control. They're trying to slot us into the air traffic system over Europe, and they do assure us they'll be back to us in the next minute or so to get underway. Taking off towards the west today, left-hand turn shortly after takeoff, then across the English Channel, then on over Europe on our way to Perth. We'll give us some more details of the flight once we get underway.
And that starts hour number 1. Hello. I'd love some pyjamas. Medium, please. Special gold Olympic pyjamas. Because this is such a long flight, 17 and a bit hours it's going to be, we're going to get a lunch service in a minute. Then about 2 or 3 hours after we've departed, they're then going to use the automatic window shade to automatically dim the windows. I have my own thoughts on that. I understand about making a nice environment for everyone if you want to sleep, making it cozy inside. But you might be the same as me. I like looking out the window. They will fly through the night. They're going to let everybody rest. And then about 2 hours before we land in Perth, they're going to serve a breakfast service. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have my lunch, maybe then put on my special Qantas, and then, I don't know, just see what my body tells me. So I think I made a little bit of a mistake with my timings on this flight. I'm just looking at the in-flight screen now, and it says that we've been flying for an hour and a bit, which is true. But then it says time to Perth just under 15 hours, meaning that it's going to be sort of a 16.5-hour flight to Perth. Now, I thought it was going to be 17 and a bit, 17 something, but is that just tailwinds? Did I calculate that wrong? I think tailwinds, whatever the reason for my miscalculations. The lunch service is about to start. Yes, that's right. Thank you. About 3 hours in now. I'm probably right in the middle of the eating phase of this flight, where
you just eat because you want something to do. So you think to yourself, well, I'll eat something. But I'm still loving this experience, and I'm still amazed at the fact that we're flying non-stop to Australia. Now, of course, we're flying to the west coast of Australia, to Perth. And you may already know about Qantas's Project Sunrise project, where they are looking to get A350-1000s to be able to fly between London and the east coast of Australia. But it's been delayed a little bit because of some issues with aircraft availability. So even though it was scheduled for 2025, the first London to Melbourne non-stop, I can't even believe I'm saying that, but the first London to Melbourne non-stop will probably run in 2026. I think that's bonkers. Think about the original kangaroo routes, the original Sydney to London when Qantas first started flying those. It took 12 days, sometimes 13 days to do the entire trip. Then the 747 era in the 1970s came and we got it down to one stop. And now it looks like in 2026, Qantas are going to be launching non-stop passenger flights between Sydney and Melbourne and London and Sydney and Melbourne and New York. That's going to be amazing. I can't wait to be on one of those flights. In fact, Qantas, have you got a spare seat on the first one? An interesting thing about this flight is that when we leave the coastline, it's basically all over land for most of this flight, but when we leave the coastline of Sri Lanka, we then fly non-stop over water from Sri Lanka all the way to the west coast of Australia in Perth. And that's going to be just over 7 hours of flying. 7 hours entirely over water, after we've already been flying for 9 hours up until that point. It's amazing. I love it. Air travel, aviation, I love it. I'm just really happy to be travelling again. That's the truth. So as you can see on the moving map, we're about to fly into the shadow for the long night that's ahead of us. And I'm a little bit worried that that means they're going to automatically dim the windows. I can see a lot of people getting into Qantas pyjamas, a lot of beds being made, people getting ready for the night ahead, which is fair enough. Definitely a good idea to sleep, get some rest on the flight. But I've just had a coffee and I'm going to power through. I want to stay awake because I'm having fun. I'm enjoying being on the plane. Also because I've got a lot of work to do. But mainly because I just don't want to sleep and wake up in Perth. I want to keep looking out the window, at least until it gets dark, or they dim the windows. But we're somewhere over Azerbaijan at the moment. It's great looking out the window, seeing mountains that, well, at one point maybe I wasn't sure I'd ever see again, seeing countries that I haven't been to yet, just enjoying the flight, having a great time. Well, we're almost at the halfway point of the flight now. Actually, no, we're not. We're still an hour and a bit away from the halfway point of the flight. As you can see, it's pretty much night time now. And it's going to be dark on the flight now until we get to, well, probably almost until we get to Perth. I'm still having a really good time. I'm still loving it, but I am getting a little bit tired as well. They didn't also auto-dim the windows. I thought that would happen, but they didn't. And I think it's because, I guess we're naturally going into night time anyhow. Poor baby. We're naturally going into night time, so there's no need to dim the windows. So good job, Qantas. Thank you. I like that because it means when the sun comes up, I'll be able to see the sunrise, hopefully tomorrow morning if I'm awake. But we're over the top of India now, which is really cool. And then we're going to hit that big, long 6, 7, 8 hour leg entirely over water. And then it will be next stop Australia. One thing I will say about the Qantas staff is they're incredibly attentive. They've been really looking out for everybody on board this flight. Of course, feel very looked after, and I think that's really important as these flights get longer and longer as time goes on. So it'll be just under 17 hours for this entire flight today. When Project Sunrise actually takes off, those flights are going to be 21, 22 hours. And so the right staff on board to look after the passengers and make sure that their well-being is looked after is really important. And I think, to be honest with you, I think Qantas are really good at that. I mean, they're the ones that pioneered this route after all. They've been the ones flying from one end of the world to the other longer and more often than anyone else has. Anyway, I am still blown away by the technology and the fact that I have taken off from the UK and very shortly we're about to put our wheels down on Australian soil. The flight that I thought was impossible when I was a kid, I think I'm about to be proved wrong. It's been such a good flight. I've enjoyed this so much.
For arrival to fine morning, it's currently 17 degrees, light winds, clear skies, and just a wonderful breeze blowing. At the moment, we're showing a touchdown time of 5 minutes to midday, and we'll have you disembarking shortly thereafter. For those of you who haven't adjusted your watches, it's now just come up to 6 minutes past 11 in the morning. After the captain and the rest of the crew, I'd like to thank you for flying Qantas. It's been a pleasure having you on board. For those returning home, welcome home. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to Perth.